Have you ever played a game that was so good that when it ended, you just sat there staring at the title screen in awe, wishing that you could turn back time to play it all over again? Because that was me with Crow Country. Like, this game is honestly amazing, and I've learned that indie games have been giving me this feeling a lot. I've been on an indie run lately, and honestly, these AAA studios, they need to be scared, bruh. Like, indie devs, they're putting soul and passion into these games. Like, you can tell they made the game for the love of their craft, not just to get money, not for a money grab. And so today, I want to break down the story of Crow Country, all the mysteries, the lore, the wild twists, all of it. And my goal, first off, is to either get you to play this game or at least let you live it through me. Now, that's enough yippity yappiting. Let's get right into this motherfucker. So boom, it's 1990. Our main character, or who we think is our main character, Mara Forrest, pulls up to this abandoned amusement park in Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, Crow Country. 2 years ago, an incident involving a girl named Elaine Marshall happened. The park was then shut down, and ever since then, the owner, Edward Crow, has been missing. So as soon as you enter the park, there's a bathroom on the left, and it has two notable things. One, it's a motherfucker in the stall taking a mean doo-doo, like his ass was stinking up the bathroom. And two, there's a newspaper article basically hating on a photographer named Arthur Mitchell for sending in what they think is a fake sighting picture from Crow Country. You then meet Arthur, who's on the ground bleeding out because his dumbass cut himself on a fence when he was coming in the park. But being the real one we are, we bandage my boy up and we put him in our car. Once you come back in the building, you see Arthur's camera, which has another picture of one of these creatures. And then you finally get to see one of these creatures, which I'll now refer to as guests. Two of them try to pull up on you in the hallway to Edward's lounge. But the good thing is, Mara's a detective, so she got that blicky on her side. So they was kind of light work. As you explore the park, you run into a cast of characters who are all at the park for their own reasons. You have Natalie Crow, Edward's daughter. When you meet her, she's throwing up in the corner outside of her father's office. She was around or got injured by one of the guests. You can give her an antidote to make her feel better, and of course, she's also here looking for her dad. You got Tolman. He's the foreman, basically Edward's right-hand guy. He's ethical, but he's loyal. You can read his records that are scattered around the map, where one of them details the moments leading up to Elaine Marshall's incident and how he tried to prevent exactly that from happening. While Tolman is involved in what Crow is doing, he's just a chill guy, to be honest. Like, I can't really have no hate for him. Julie Barn, the lawyer hired by Elaine's family. She's trying to figure out what happened 2 years ago. She came to get Edward to go to court, leaving things on the table that she's sure Edward will see. You can read her note to learn more about the Elaine incident. And at one point in the game, she helps you control a boat ride so you can get a battery, which will bring you to the end stage of the game. But when you get back to where she's supposed to be, there's only blood leading into a now open vent. Harrison James, the police detective who was supposed to be here before a certain someone slashed his tires. But I'll give it to him. Man's just dedicated to his job. He pulled up to the park with his pink ass bike. Sadly, you later find him dead in the game, but not by one of the guests. He was shot with a gun by one of these other characters. I'll let you think on who it could be for now. Of course, we have Mr. Crow himself. While not much is really known about him to the public, all they do know is that he's a rich guy who opened and, well, now closed down the park. He also tries too hard to be mysterious. He calls you on these payphones where he just rambles about the routes, the pool, the guests, etc. Like, he just be talking. I'm not gonna lie, he be talking. You can learn how his whole operation started by reading his childhood diary. On a camping trip with his dad, they found a small wiggling green root. His dad cut it open to discover gold inside. He then bought the land, and when he died, Edward built Crow Country over the roots. Douglas Pike. While Douglas isn't too influential on the story, he was a colleague of Crow who spied on some of his conversations and learned about what they were really doing here. He was so overtaken with guilt that he ended up unaliving himself, leaving a VHS tape where he hoped that Elaine would never forgive them. And last but not least, this slimy, grimy motherfucker, Marvin Trumbull, Edward's business partner. He's obviously the shady type. He helps Edward smuggle gold to Brazil for profit, but now he's on the run and he wants Edward's help. You can just tell he's finna slime somebody out. I mean, just look at him, my boy. Like, it speaks for itself. Just look at this man.
Eat your piccochine, boy.
All these characters come together to help combine the story into one. Now, eventually, you get deep into the park, and this is where the big mystery starts making sense. There's a massive excavation site hidden under Crow Country, and in that dig site, you find 7 roots, which are being extracted for gold. And not just regular gold. but the purest of the pure gold. And with the help of notes and dialogue from characters, you learn what's really going on here. The roots, the gold, the creatures, the pool, and the first guest that appeared. But here's the shady part of it. Edward and Marvin weren't just harvesting these roots. They were building a whole gold laundering operation. They extract the gold to be broken up into pieces, which are then combined with regular rocks from Georgia to be shipped out to Brazil. They use an abandoned mine shaft as a front for where they're getting the gold, which they sell for profit to the Brazilian government. And to be honest, it was smart. Like, for a while, it was actually working. Obviously, until it wasn't. Now, these creatures roaming around the park, as I said earlier, they're called guests, named that by Edward himself. And at first, you assume they're monsters or maybe failed experiments, who knows. But then you find the notes and character dialogue, as well as the blood message 2106 left on floors and walls all over the park. Then the pieces start clicking in your head. You can learn about all these guests from a slideshow in Edward's office, each one having their own description and at what percentage of root excavation they came out at. But the guests aren't monsters, if you could believe that by looking at them. They're people, humans. Humans from the year 2106. That 2106 that keeps showing up in blood, it's not a code for anything, which I thought it was. Like, I would go to these keypads, try to type it in. I'm like, there's no 0 on the keypad, so how am I supposed to type this in? But it's the year that they're from. Everything under the park, the roots, the pool, it's all a part of a time travel device. The pool is a gateway from the future, and the roots are antennas that are meant to stabilize the portal. But here's where Edward messed up, because they kept digging into the roots for more gold. The machine became unstable, and when the time travelers arrived from 2106, their bodies got twisted, deformed, whatever you want to call it. They all got done crazy, especially the puddle motherfuckers. Like, look at them, they just like a glob. Like, that shit nasty. Ugh. That's why the later guests look worse than the earlier ones. The machine kept getting more and more damage. The only guest that could talk was the first one that came out. Edward wrote down everything the guest said, which you can read on this note that he gives you. They come back to try to save the world from what happened in 2106, but every arrival after the first one was too far gone to communicate, let alone function correctly. All the guests carry a bacterial infection. Anyone who touches one gets infected, and Edward knows this because he got infected too while trying to help one of them. He's been down in the dig site studying the infection, trying to find a way to reverse engineer a cure, which is why he's the most deformed of everyone who's been infected. He's been exposed to it the longest. This infection has a 100% fatality rate, meaning that everyone you've met, including yourself, is doomed to a fate worse than death. And at some point in your exploration, Marvin snaps. As I hinted at earlier, he ends up blicking up my boy Harrison, because he knows too much about what's going on. And it's no surprise he did this. I mean, he was shady from the beginning of the game. In every interaction with other characters, you could just tell that no one liked him, especially Tolman. Matter of fact, let me just put on my narration voice real quick for this part.
Well, you were doing a shit job of it, Trumbull, you worthless old junkie.
My narration voice tough, ain't it? I could really be a voice actor for real. In the final confrontation between you, Marvin and Tolman, he was gonna kill you for knowing too much as well. But guess who came to save the day? Someone we previously thought was dead. The homie Julie. She hits him with the vent cover and boom, that boy gone, never to be seen from again. Good fucking riddance if you ask me, that slimy motherfucker. What you learn from Julie is that the guests aren't hostile. They're only trying to communicate, which that's cap. They've been trying to kill me from the start, so that's a damn lie. Like, do they look friendly to you? Like, if you just stand here, you think they gonna try to give you a hug? Like, they be trying to bite you. They be trying to hit you with this big ass green clobber hammer that this man got. Like, they not friendly, bruh. Like, that's just my opinion. Elaine tells Julie and Tolman to gather everyone and meet her at the car, as she has to complete what she came here for, obviously. Then, the biggest twist of the entire game. Near the end, you finally meet Edward Crowe, and my man is going through it. Like, his ass looked like he got burned alive. Freddy Krueger looking at him, ugly ass nigga, big head ass nigga. He then starts dropping bombshells on you and confirms the suspicion you had the entire game, from context clues, other characters calling you kiddo, acting weird around you when you say you're a detective, all these things. Mara Forrest, she's not real. It's not a real person. You're not a special agent. You're Elaine Marshall, the girl who got injured 2 years ago, the girl whose case shut down the park, the girl infected by the first guest. Elaine escaped from the hospital. She stole Detective Harrison's credentials. She slashed his tires, forged documents, and came to the park looking for Crowe. Not to kill him, not to destroy the park, but to find answers, and maybe even closure. I mean, she is dying from the infection after all. Her doctors had no idea what illness she had because it came from a whole different time period in the future. Edward informs Elaine that he's been making a cure though. He only managed to create 5 vials, and with everyone else that's been infected, including you, that makes 6 people. Obviously one too many. But Edward tells her he's not taking one. He wants her to save herself and the others because he's not coming with them. Edward wants to step into the pool. He wants to see the other side. He wants to know where the guests came from. His last wish being that if he comes back out the pool, he needs you to blick him down. Like, put that man down. He don't want to come back and be alive, you know? Like, he just wants to die. And just like that, he falls backward into the pool. But before doing so, he gives you the note that I was talking about earlier. And of course, he comes back as this big body monster you gotta fight for a final boss fight. You end up obviously killing him, ended in suffering, and go to meet up with everyone at the car. Elaine escapes the park with the remaining survivors. They drive 4 miles away, build a fire, and sit together in the quiet, reflecting on what happened. She gives everyone the cure, and they take a moment to breathe. It's calm, bittersweet, but still mysterious. The game ends with more questions than answers, and that's the story of Crow Country. Time travel, mutated humans, gold laundering, corporate greed, a dying Earth, and a theme park hiding the biggest scientific discovery in human history. And to be honest, this game really surprised me. Like, it's not what I was expecting at all just looking at the picture. It was a gem hiding in my PlayStation library for a minute. Like, it was just sitting in there, which makes me want to go hunt down more games just like this. And if you enjoyed this video, leave your boy a comment. Like, I respond to everybody. You know, I'm trying to get a fan base going here. I want people to, you know, watch these videos, not just for, you know, the games, but for me too, you know. Also subscribe. I'm trying to hit 500 subs before January, which it might be too much to ask for because we almost there. We got like a month and a couple weeks left. But like, leave me some recommendations on any other games y'all want to see, and I'll make a video about them. Anyways, I'm out this bitch. Peace.